Unleash the power of knowledge and connect with the heartbeat of the African diaspora. Download our African Diaspora News Channel app now on Google Play and Apple App Store. Stay informed with authentic and diverse perspectives, breaking news, and cultural insights. Immerse yourself in a community that celebrates unity, resilience, and progress. Experience the vibrancy of the diaspora at your fingertips. Don't miss out. Empower your perspective today. Search African Diaspora News Channel and join the conversation.
Peace, family. Vicki Dillard here for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to give the video a big thumbs up and share the broadcast. This helps to expand our collective Black voice, and we're those that speak for you. How many of you all know that in most mainstream news, you're not going to hear coverage of things that matter to you? And it's so important that we recognize our extraordinary importance. And thank you so very much for supporting family. Now, you certainly know that our beautiful South African family has been in the news nonstop. I have done coverage on them for quite some time now, long before their legal case that was brought before the ICJ, which I won't get into too much detail of that right now. But the part that I am going to discuss is the fact that now high-level government officials from different parts of the world, specifically Europe, have claimed that South Africa is receiving funding from Iran. Now, isn't this something? Listen to this piece. South Africa's Foreign Minister Naledi Pandor categorically dismissed claims that the ruling ANC party received financial support from Iran to initiate those proceedings in the ICJ. Many of you all know about what's going on in the Middle East and South Africa's role in addressing that. Addressing the media during a press briefing on Wednesday, Minister Pandor described the allegations as a counter-offensive orchestrated. Y'all think, listen to that term. She said this was a counter-offensive orchestrated, family, by the opposition, right? And their allies and its allies. This also talks about the fact that this assertion aligns with President Cyril Ramaphosa's earlier comments where he warned of potential repercussions of South Africa's pursuit. And in fact, this article doesn't get into great detail about that. But of course, I saw some of the coverage and actually a portion of an address from President Ramaphosa where he actually said that counter forces are actually trying to induce regime change to push him out because of them holding folks accountable in the Middle East. Now, family, this is very important. Now, if you'll recall, last year I discussed in a couple of different occasions because I see the scheme. This is a deliberate, calculated, and methodical intention to take down South Africa piece by piece, bit by bit, with a number of different moving parts. And so this is the reason why you see me cover the United States plot to do that, because I saw it coming long before some of the stuff that we're hearing now in the news that took place since last fall. Now, the notion that without evidence, high-level governmental officials and respected geopolitical voices are running around accusing South Africa of being funded by Iran is outrageous. But it smells just like something that the United States ambassador, Mr. Briggity, accused South Africa of a year and some change ago. Remember, he accused them of supplying arms to Russia. We knew that was a lie, and even Mr. Briggity swore his life that those allegations were true. How many of y'all remember that coverage? Be sure to check out my latest videos. Just put it in the search engine, my name and the United States and South Africa, accusing South Africa of supplying arms to Russia, and it should come up. Family, not only shortly after that, the U.S. ambassador to South Africa gave a half-hearted apology, but sometime later, a thorough investigation was done by the South African government, found absolutely no evidence of it. Now, the United States put out that libelous allegation that was unsubstantiated, and it caused the South African government to experience negative effects, and it affected their relationships in other parts of the world. That is a shame that the U.S. government did that. I have done back-to-back coverage on how the foreign congressional committees in the United States have been doing hearings on reconsidering their relationship with South Africa and disparaging them because of their relationships to some of the BRICS members. Talk Black to Me, somebody. Disrespecting the ANC. They were objecting to the ANC even discussing land transfer from the Boers to the appropriate owners of it. Just any even discussion, the fact that they were having that, they objected to that. They were disparaging them, talking about they're not the party of Nelson Mandela and all that. And we know that there's some changes obviously there, but that's not the point. They're trying to stir up trouble. I showed you how they flew in a couple of South Africans to actually testify and try to make their own country look bad during one of the congressional hearings. Well, family, this is another one of those attempts, but the rabbit hole is deep concerning why. One of the major reasons, and I'm going to continue to talk about this, is you got to understand sometime in 2023, I'm going to read from this piece here to remind you that the United States is upset because now BRICS has new members that includes some of our Middle Eastern countries, including Iran, right? Are y'all hearing me today? So this has really upset the United States and her Western allies because they consider Iran to be anathema to them, and not for just reasons either. So because South Africa plays such a prominent role in BRICS, they automatically know that this relationship is going to expand. And because not only is South Africa and the entire continent, and certainly Iran is considered to be a part of what they call the global South, they know that those relationships are only going to go stronger, and there's political and certainly economic ties that will be strengthened. Well, as I was about to say a minute ago, I've done a broadcast on this too. Please put it in the search engine. That broadcast should come up as well, where I talked about some of the secret agreements between Iran and South Africa is really disturbing the West. This piece says Iran, South Africa signed MOU of Joint Economic Cooperation Commission. I discussed this briefly some months back. Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amrabdollahian, I'm pronouncing it real slow, my Mississippi accent, and Naledi Pandor, the South African Minister of Cooperation and International Relations, signed the Memorandum of Understanding at the end of the expert panel deliberations of the Joint Economic Cooperation Commission. Iranian Foreign Minister and Naledi Pandor, the South African Minister of Cooperation and International Relations, they signed the understanding at the end of the expert panel deliberations of the Joint Economic Cooperation Commission. This came after the regional director after the regional, director generals of the ministries of foreign affairs from both countries presented the report on the deliberations during the 15th meeting of the Joint Economic Commission of the Islamic Republic of Iran and the Republic of South Africa in Pretoria. Now, let's be clear. Many, many years ago, our brother Nelson Mandela warned the United States and others, your enemies doesn't mean they're our enemies. He warned you all of that. I need to remind you that it was the United States government that was for apartheid in South Africa. America's so-called democratic ally in the Middle East was supporting the apartheid in South Africa. Russia didn't. So you got to ask yourself, how did the United States get it wrong? And her so-called enemies get it right. You don't think for one second that Iran was supporting apartheid, do you? See, you guys, all the people that you don't like, folks like Venezuela and Cuba, they were not supportive of apartheid. That should tell you about the judgment of the countries in the nation and those that you consider to be, that the United States and her Western allies consider to be enemies and that impose unjust economic sanctions on. Talk black to me, somebody. So you want to sit there and dictate because you're upset that they have these bilateral relationships and they've signed these. That was just a couple of the agreements that I'm aware of that they signed. So you're upset because of that. And you're upset because Iran is now a new member of the BRICS family. You know that means that they're going to have tighter relationships economically, politically, geopolitically, and otherwise. So you're doing every little messy thing you can do to disrupt. But we're going to keep calling it out and would to the divine, the weapon that you're formed against them shall not prosper. And let me hit the gavel on that. Family, we must be careful. And this is a specific and respectful warning to our brothers and sisters in South Africa. They are going to do everything that they can. They're going to do everything that they can, that even if you have a just complaint against your government, they will do everything that they can to exacerbate it and help to get some of you and your feelings to work from the inside out against your own government so that they can benefit. I'm just going to simply and humbly ask that my Black family from around the world, the diaspora, would keep the main thing the main thing. I'm going to respectfully ask that you don't major on minors and minor on majors, that you don't allow the greatest adversary to play you because you may have a just complaint against your government, but keep it in proper perspective, family, and make sure that you're not going to be one of the agents and the weapons used against your own government. Keep the larger picture in mind. That's all I ask. And I speak as forcefully as I do and as vehemently as I do because I know this government. So when I'm speaking from the perspective of her plotting and planning and scheming as a foundational Black American, I know what I'm talking about. Just a few things to consider. Family, I want to remind you that African Diaspora News Channel, we have our own app. So we want to encourage you to download it. We think you're going to love it. Family, when you support these Black media apps, you're in essence supporting us having our own platform. We're expanding our platform. And how many of you all know mainstream media? They're trying to cover up some of the stuff that we talk to you about. This is not the stuff that they're talking about. And they certainly don't have a love and a care for our people like we do. So thank you all so much for supporting and strengthening our collective Black voice by downloading the African Diaspora News Channel app. Also, be sure to check out my website at VickiPlanet.com. That's VICKI Planet.com. I have a wonderful school and all kinds of wonderful webinars and products and services. You're going to love it. I can't wait to see you again.